Hey guys, and welcome back again. So we're still distributing today, but in this situation, we're gonna distribute first, and then we're gonna look for like terms and combine them. So we're kind of taking those two skills we just learned and putting them together. Let's start by distributing. The first thing we have to do is distribute that 8 to everything inside the parentheses. So 8 times 2x gives me 16x. 8 times -3 gives me -24. I'm going to bring down my -6x. All right, now I'm looking for like terms, and like terms have the same variable and exponent part. So, since I only have x's, 16x and -6x would combine to give me a positive 10x. There's nothing that I can combine with this -24, so I'm just gonna bring it down. All right, let's look at number 20. The first thing I'm gonna do is distribute my two numbers. The first is the 9. The second is the -2. So 9 times 2 gives me 18. And then I don't want to forget my k. 9 times -4 is -36. -2 times 7k is -14k. -2 times -12 is a positive 24. All right, we have two sets of like terms here. For my first set of like terms, I have k's in common. So I have an 18k and a -14k. So if I take 18 minus 14 in my calculator, it will give me a positive 4k. My second set of like terms is the -36 and the positive 24. And when you add those together in your calculator, you're gonna get -12. All right, not so bad. Let's try this next one. So what we learned when we distribute is if there's just a negative on the outside, that means we're distributing a -1. So I'm going to put in my invisible -1 and distribute that. I'll bring the 10 down here and go from there. -1 times y is -1y. -1 times 6 is positive 6. This is outside of the parentheses, so I'm just going to bring it down. We do have two sets of like terms. We have -1y here. We have another -1y here. Together they give me -2y. We also have a positive 10 and a positive 6, which together give me a positive 16. Hopefully it's starting to make some sense, but let's continue. Hey guys. This is an edit. So the first time I did this problem, I forgot to bring down the 6. So let's try this again. So if you notice that the video is cut, that is why. So the first thing we're going to do is distribute our positive 8 to everything in there, and then we'll distribute our -1 to everything in those parentheses. But just so I don't forget again, see this 6 out front? I'm gonna write it right here. All right, and since I know that 8 times 4 is going to give me a positive 32, there's that. So then 8 times -7 is a -56. -1 times 2w, -2w. -1 times +1 gives me -1. All right, let's look for like terms again. So we have 32w and -2w, which gives me a positive 30w. We also have a positive 6 and a -56, which will give me -50. -50 minus 1 gives me -51. Great. You'll be able to watch the rest of the video to continue. All right, for the second part, we're gonna distribute the -1. So -1 times 2w is -2w. -1 times +1 gives me -1. Let's look for like terms. We have 32 and -2, which will combine and give me a positive 30w. We also have -56 and -1, which would combine to give you -57. All right. Couple more. Here we are going to be distributing fractions. That's okay because we have a calculator. We'll distribute 9/4 times 10/3 x, and then times the -4. We're also going to be distributing this -1/4 to the 2x and the -8. So let's get our calculators out. Mine's over here. So 9/4 times 10/3. And that will give me 15/2x. If your calculator gives it to you as a fraction, I would just change it. It's usually second F to D, and you'll have to look for that. F to D means fraction to decimal, because fractions always give you the most precise answer. Sometimes decimals we have to round, like 1/3 would be 0.333, and 1/3 is the whole thing, 0.333, we'd have to round. So let's continue. 9/4 times over 4 times -4, -9. Let's do this one. -1/4 times 2. -1/2 x, because that guy has the x on. And then -1/4, once again, times -8, +2. All right. So we are not quite done yet because we can combine like terms. We have 15/2x and -1/2x. And if you think about that, you can just, because they both have the same denominator, you can subtract them, but just to be sure, and I'll put 14/2x. We'll see what happens from there, because that might simplify as well. Let's take 15/2, and let's subtract 1/2, 1/2. And that gives you 7. And I know that 14 divided by 2 is 7. So let me rewrite that. It's 7x. Then, oddly enough, if you combine your -9 and your +2, you're going to have a -7. Final answer. Let's distribute one more time with these fractions. 7/8. Takes a little bit, but that's okay. I want to make sure I get it right. So if I multiply those, I'm going to get 7/10x. Let's do 7/8 times 16. Plus 14. We'll do the same thing here. 3/5 times 1/2 x is +3/10x. And then 3/5 times -10 is -6. All right, let's combine. I think I know that since these have common denominators, 7 plus 3 would give me 10/10x, which would give me 1. But just in case, I want to make sure I throw that in my calculator and double check. So 7/10 plus 3/10 1. So if you want to put 1x, you can. If you want to just put the x, you can do that as well. So then +14 minus 6 gonna give me a positive 8. And my final answer is x plus 8. So what we saw here was we distributed first, then we looked for like terms, things with the same variable part. We put those together and simplified. Thanks so much, guys.